Imagine your server falls over at 3 in the morning, and the thing whose entire job is to watch it, CloudWatch, never calls you. The alarm even turned red. But it was never wired to anything, so your phone stayed silent. That's the #1 CloudWatch mistake, and we're going to fix it. By the end, you'll understand CloudWatch's 4 parts, and you'll set the 2 alarms that actually wake you up, including the one pointed at your bill. Here's the whole idea. CloudWatch is the dashboard, the smoke detectors, and the flight recorder for your entire AWS house. Most beginners think CloudWatch is one thing. It's really 4. Metrics are the gauges, numbers over time, like CPU or request count. Logs are the flight recorder, the detailed text record of what every service actually said, which you replay after something breaks. Alarms are the smoke detectors, they watch a gauge and change state when it crosses a line. And dashboards are just the wall where you mount all the gauges to see the whole house at a glance. Everything else in this video hangs off these 4, and the real magic is wiring a smoke detector to a phone call. Let's start with metrics, in the real console. This is the All Metrics view, and notice how everything is organized. Metrics live in namespaces. You can see tiles for EC2, billing, logs, EBS, and more. And within a namespace, each metric is pinned down by dimensions, like a specific instance ID. That's exactly why finding your one server's CPU can feel like a maze. Think of a filing cabinet. The namespace is the drawer, and the dimensions are the label on the exact folder. Pick the drawer, then the folder, and you've got your gauge. Now the surprise that blindsides almost everyone. People assume CloudWatch just monitors everything on an EC2 instance. It does not. By default, you get CPU, network, and status checks, and only every 5 minutes. There is no memory metric and no disk space use metric at all. Why? Because AWS watches your instance from the outside, at the hypervisor level, and it simply cannot see inside your operating system. The outside gauges can't read the fuel gauge from the curb. So how do you get memory and disk? That's the next piece. The answer is the CloudWatch agent. You installed a small unified agent on your EC2 instance, or even an on-prem server, and run its config wizard to choose what to collect. Suddenly, memory utilization and disk use % appear, usually under a custom namespace like CW agent. And as a bonus, the same agent can stream your application's log files straight into CloudWatch logs. It's like bolting an extra sensor inside the engine, so the dashboard can finally show you oil temperature and fuel. A quick but important distinction. Basic versus detailed monitoring. Basic is the default, it's free, and it gives you 5-minute resolution, perfectly fine for most workloads. Detailed monitoring gives you 1-minute resolution for a small per instance fee, and it's worth it when you need fast autoscaling reactions or you're watching spiky, bursty traffic. It's the difference between a gauge whose needle updates every 5 minutes and one that updates every minute. You pay a little more for the faster needle. Now the flight recorder, logs, and how it's organized. Because this trips people up. This is the log group screen. A log group is the container, usually one per application or service. Inside each group are log streams, one per source, like a single instance or container. And here's a money tip. By default, logs are kept forever and billed forever, so you set a retention policy, say 30 days, on the log group. The flight recorder is the log group, each black box from each engine is a log stream, and keep tapes. For 30 days is your retention setting. Scrolling through raw logs is misery, so CloudWatch gives you Logs Insights, a real query language for your logs. Here in the editor, you can see a query, fields timestamp, and message. Sort by newest, limit the results. You can filter for the word, error, parse out fields, and count errors over time across an entire log group. Instead of fast-forwarding the whole flight recording, you just ask, show me every moment the word error was spoken. That one skill turns hours of scrolling into a 5-second answer. Now alarms, the smoke detectors. This is the Create Alarm wizard, and you can see the steps on the left, specify the metric and conditions, configure actions, add details. You pick a metric, set a threshold, say CPU above 80%, and how many periods it must breach. And every alarm is always in exactly one of 3 states: OK when all is well, alarm when the threshold is breached, and INS sufficient data. That last one scares beginners, but it just means there's no data yet. The detector got new batteries and hasn't sniffed any air. It is not a failure. And here is the single most important lesson in this entire video. An alarm by itself does nothing but change its state from OK to alarm. That's it. The reason people watch an alarm go red and never get an email is that they never attached an action. In the configure action step, you wire the alarm to an action, usually an SNS topic that emails or texts you, but it can also trigger autoscaling or stop an instance. And you must click the confirmation link in the SNS email, or it stays silent. A smoke detector not wired to a bell is just decoration. There is one alarm every single person should set on day 1, the billing alarm, and almost nobody does. First, go into your account's billing preferences and turn on Receive Billing Alerts. Then, and this catches everyone, switch your region to North Virginia, us East 1, because billing metrics live only there. Create an alarm on the estimated charges metric, say above $10, and wire it to SNS and your email. It's a smoke detector pointed at your wallet. It screams before the bill ever becomes a fire. Now dashboards, the wall where you hang every gauge. This is the dashboard section, where you build a single view with the widgets you care about, CPU, memory from the agent, error towns, even a Logs Insights query as a widget. A quick note on cost, you get 3 dashboards free, then it's a small charge per dashboard per month. The point is one wall in the hallway with every gauge from every room, so a 5-second glance tells you the whole house is healthy, no clicking around. 2 power features beginners never meet. First, custom metrics. You can push your own numbers into CloudWatch with the putMetric data call. Think orders per minute or queue depth, but be warned, each custom metric costs about 30 cents a month, and an app that pushes one on every request can quietly run a real bill. Second, composite alarms. Instead of 3 separate detectors all shrieking at once, you build one master alarm that fires only when, say, high CPU and a high error rate are both happening together. That's the cure for alarm fatigue, one alarm that triggers only when the kitchen is both hot and smoky. Let's talk cost, because CloudWatch bills can sneak up on you. The big driver is logs, ingestion at roughly 50 cents a gigabyte, plus ongoing storage. Then custom metrics, high-resolution 1-second metrics, get metric data, API calls, and dashboards beyond the free 3. The classic trap is leaving DEBU logging on, or shipping every single VPC flow log that can dwarf your compute bill. The fixes are simple: set log retention so old logs expire, sample your noisiest logs, and skip high-resolution metrics unless you truly need them. The flight recorder is cheap to own, expensive only if you record everything, in 4K for every. Finally, 4 services people constantly confuse. CloudWatch answers how is it performing, metrics, logs, and alarms. CloudTrail answers who did what. It's the API audit log of every action in your account. X-Ray lets you follow one single request as it travels across many services. That's distributed tracing. And EventBridge is the modern event bus. And here's the secret. It is literally the old CloudWatch events, just rebranded and expanded. So, CloudWatch is your house's gauges and smoke detectors. CloudTrail is the security camera log of who opened which door. X-Ray follows one visitor room to room. And EventBridge is the intercom that lets rooms react to each other. Get that, plus the agent for memory, and an alarm wired to an action.